We're here with Dad, November 13th, 2018. Had a good visit for the last few days, Dad. So let's talk a little bit about your childhood. You were the first kid in the family till your sister came along at age 6, right?
Yes.
So were you older enough from her where it was kind of like almost a babysitting type relationship as you were growing up?
No.
You were close enough in age where you were fairly close as brother and sister?
6 years.
Okay, but Mike came along when you were in high school, right?
Yeah, I'm 14 years older than Mike.
Yeah. So you mentioned when you would come home from college, he'd come in and wake you up at Christmas jumping on the bed, and it must have been a sort of a funny dynamic having a younger brother so much younger. Growing up, you were in the same house in Ottawa the whole time, right?
Yes.
On Retz, was it?
Retz Drive.
What was the number, do you remember?
Seems like it was 908 Retz Drive.
Okay, I think that sounds familiar. And do you remember what your first job was?
My first job was picking raspberries and cutting asparagus.
And how old do you think you were?
I started that when I was in 4th grade.
Was that in the neighborhood?
It was about 2 miles away, and I walked to it and walked home.
Okay. And I think I remembered you saying your worst job was shucking corn.
It was detasseling corn.
Detasseling?
Yeah.
So,
like that.
Hot and sweaty work, dirty work?
Yeah.
How old were you then, high school?
Yeah.
So, when did you start playing sports?
Well, I started in grade school.
Like early grade school?
Probably 7th and 8th grade.
Okay. And when you were youngest, was it football and basketball and baseball?
Yeah.
And then you started track in high school too?
Yes.
So what position did you play in football?
Running back and defensive back.
Corner or safety?
Corner.
Okay. And how about basketball?
I was a guard.
And then in baseball, what'd you play?
First base.
So in track, I know you ran the 440. Did you run anything else?
On occasion, I ran the 100 and 220 and did broad jump.
Okay. And did you go to regionals in track? The meet outside of your league?
Yeah.
And senior year, you hurt your hamstring really early in the season, right? But you still got a scholarship offer for Illinois?
Yeah.
Based on your junior year, probably?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I remember seeing your first meet a senior year of 53 flat. Does that sound about right?
Close.
Okay. And mile relay too?
Yeah.
Was your team pretty good?
It was okay.
So at Illinois, you didn't end up running because they detected a heart murmur, which really didn't turn into anything, but you stayed as a student. Did you do intramural sports there?
Yeah.
And what did you do? Do you remember?
Football.
Football, okay. And then you ended up doing ROTC there too.
Yeah.
Was that your first year?
All 4. Uh-huh.
All 4 years, okay. And when you had to go into for basic training, was that Leavenworth, Kansas?
No, that was at. Well, I was there for summer while I was in school, but when I graduated, I went to Texas, Fort Bliss, Texas.
Fort Bliss, okay. So you were born in 1935, August 2nd, 1935. Did you graduate high school in 53?
Yes.
And then U of I in 57?
Yes.
Okay. And your major, biz admin?
My major was management.
Management, okay. And you went to work for a bank after that?
For 4 years.
Okay. And what got you into the stock brokerage world?
I was always interested in the market, but I didn't think I was a salesman. I thought you had to have a certain personality. But I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. And then I ended up being a stockbroker for 21 years, 6 in Chicago and 15 in San Francisco.
And you met Mom just right in the beginning of your training, right?
Yes.
And that was
I met her while I was still at the bank.
Oh, okay.
And then she moved away, and when she moved away, then I went into training for a stockbroker. And she was gone. She was out of my life, and then I was in New York for a 6-week training period, and I got called out of class for a call, and it was Barbara. And she had found out where I was, so she asked me if I could come see her at the St. Regis Hotel. And I went up there, we talked for a couple hours, but I left. I didn't get her address, I didn't get her phone number, and so I had no way of getting in touch with her. Well, I finished my training, went back to Chicago, and was working. Get a telephone call one day, and it was Barbara again. I always teased her. She chased me till she got me.
So you ended up getting together again in Chicago, right?
Yes.
I think I remember Mom saying that you took her to one of your old college hangouts. Maybe not college because it was in Chicago, but a Greek place or something like that.
I can't remember.
Pretty casual place.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was a favorite of mine. Yeah.
Okay. And then again, you didn't see each other for a while after that, right? She was on assignment with her flight attendant position?
Yeah, she had transferred from Los Angeles to Miami Beach. And then one day she called me, and she said she had 4 overnights in the next month in Chicago. And I said, can we get together? And she said, yeah. I said, where are you? She said, Chicago. I said, let's go to dinner. We did. And she invited me to come down to Miami Beach and see her. She said, my landlady's a matchmaker. I'm sure she'll give you a free room. And she did. And the second day we were on a picnic on the beach in Miami Beach, and I proposed to her.
So that photo that we have of you two on the beach, was that the day you proposed?
Yes.
Okay. And did she say she'd think about it for a day?
I said, you don't have to answer me right now, and she didn't. And that night we were out and we were at the piano bar at the Playboy Club.
Playboy Club?
In Miami Beach. And I was talking about something, and in the middle of it she said, yes. And I said, pardon me? And she said, yes. I said, are you talking about my proposal? And she said, yes. So she called her mother and told her that I had proposed, and she accepted. And her mother said, well, I need to meet him. So I arranged to go to Philadelphia and meet her mother and her family.
So how was Grandma Duraca when she met you? Was she a little tough, or was she pretty nice?
No, she liked me.
That's good.
Yeah, she told Barbara she liked me.
So growing up out in the country in Illinois, did you ever imagine proposing to your future wife on Miami Beach? Probably not part of the playbook. And you guys got married September 29th, 62. How much later after the proposal was it?
It wasn't very long.
About 6 months or so?
Not that long.
Not even that long? And you got married in Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
It looked like a very traditional church from the photos.
Yeah, Catholic church.
Was that church one that any of the family went to, or was it just a nice venue?
No, it was a family church.
Okay. And so once you guys got married, you had the first apartment in Chicago suburbs, right?
Yeah, right on the Evanston border.
Okay.
And you were born in the Evanston Hospital.
And we moved like the day after I was born to another apartment, right?
Yeah.
Where was that one? That was downtown?
No, that was out in the suburbs.
Out where Barbie was born?
Yeah.
Okay.
Near Park Ridge.
And then how long after Barbie was born? Actually, I should ask you this. Do you remember what your rent was in that first apartment?
I think it was like $110 a month.
110, and you were making how much?
$350.
350, and then Mom was working a little in the beginning, right?
Yeah, she worked at Marshall Fields.
And what was she making?
Not a whole lot, but
A couple hundred, probably.
But together it was
Enough to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you end up buying the house in Deerfield?
When?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Probably about 67 or so.
But that was a beautiful home.
Yeah. About Barbie maybe 1 or so.
Yeah.
Probably, because I think we moved to Moraga in Lafayette in 68. Were you there about a year?
Yeah.
Okay. So we rented a home in Lafayette. Was it McBride? Is that the name of the street?
Yes.
Yeah, McBride. And then what brought us to Moraga the next year? You were looking at a couple of places, right? Weren't you looking at Round Hill and Alamo?
Yeah. Well, Moraga, the house we bought, the couple was getting a divorce, and we got a good price.
Okay. So it was a little bit less than the Alamo house, right? Like 5,000 less, I think you said? Something like that?
Yeah.
So that was 738 Camino Ricardo, and we lived there about 14 years or so. So then Barb came along in 66, February 16th. And when we were kids, we got along pretty well, right? When we were little? Not even when we were little?
You gave her a lot of trouble.
I know we squabbled when we were older kids, and it kind of calmed down high school and later. I know some of the family road trips got a little bit tense, but we all started going to church together within about a year of each other in about 70, right? 1969 or 1970. Mom would have been the first one. And she brought Barb and me, and I remember talking about how you were there when I went forward in VBS a little bit after my birthday in 71, and Barb did the next day, and I think you ended up making your decision to serve God like a month after that, right? If you remember right. So not too long after, and then we moved to Springbrook. Actually, I think that was Springbrook that happened.
It was Springbrook.
Yeah, okay, so 71, and spent a good 12 years there. What are some of your fondest memories of your time at Springbrook?
Well, the pastor, Joe Kerner, became a really close friend of mine. He really mentored me. And he told me early on, he said, "I think you have a call to the ministry." I thought he was crazy, but he was right.
Took a little while, but eventually. So in 82, Dick Foth, the president of Bethany, asked you to be the director of development down there. You had been doing a lot of ministry work, president of men's ministry in NorCal and Nevada, and a lot in the church too. What was it that made you think this was the time and the place?
Well, it's just, when he asked me, I was surprised, and I told Barbara, I said, "Barbara, I think the Lord's calling me to ministry." And so I accepted the offer as director of development. My responsibilities were fundraising, student recruitment, public relations, and alumni relations. And I was there 4 years. It was a favorite 4 years of my life.
Got to work with the students a lot on the mission teams, and
Yeah, I loved working with the students, and I resigned, and Dick Poe said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't have the slightest idea what I'm going to do." I said, "But if I do anything outside of the assemblies, it would be with something like CBN / the 700 Club." That just popped out of my mind. I hadn't been thinking that way at all. 2 days later, the vice president of the 700 Club called me. And so I had heard from the Lord, and he had the next place picked out for me.
so in 86 you were leading the NorCal call center with them, counseling center, and lived in San Ramon. And then in 87 you guys moved back east to the headquarters in Virginia Beach, right?
Right.
So you lived in Chesapeake, and you guys were there, was it till 97 or 98?
We were there 10 years.
So about 97 then. And then both Susan and Barb were pregnant the same year, with Riley coming in early 97 and Paige in late 97. So you guys got to move out and be kind of in between the two of us in Oakhurst. And you were in Oakhurst 3 or 4 years?
4 years.
Okay. On staff as seniors pastor, and then had a chance to come move down here where we are now, but to be by Barb and Gil and Riley and Kelsey. So that's nice. You've been able to be 15 minutes away. So Mom was a real ministry partner with you in every step of the way.
Yes.
How important was it to be on the same page spiritually throughout that whole process? You guys prayed together a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, every morning we prayed together. But she was just, I got the call and she was just with me all the way.
Yeah. And we lost Mom in the summer of 2015, and I know that's been real hard for you because she was by your side every step of the way.
We had been married for 52 years.
Yeah.
And it was a really good marriage, and I was very lonely, still am today without her.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you have Barb and Gil down here so close.
Yeah.
It makes such a huge difference. So if you were to give advice to young people just kind of starting off on their life after school, just figuring out what do I want to do with my life, what would you say?
First off, find a place of service in the church. Doesn't make any difference what it is, how big or really how small. Just find a place of service and let the Lord lead you from there.
We have a lot of awesome memories over the years, and so glad that we all found God at the same time early on, and looking forward to many more years to spend with you and years to come.